This one should really be called The Exorcist Generic. Welcome to WWH. My name is Andrew Dreamer, and thank you for joining us here today. We have another action-packed show in store for you. Make sure you stick around to the very end because I have something special in store. Before we get going, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Go ahead and hit that like button and post a comment letting me know if this is your first time watching the show. Today we are looking at The Exorcist Believer, just released not too long ago. I know I'm a little late, but I just now got around to watching this film. It's a legacy sequel to William Friedkin's classic film and the first part of a new trilogy, similar to what Blumhouse did with the Halloween franchise. Which makes sense because this film was directed by David Gordon Green, who also directed the newest Halloween trilogy. This film, however, has not been received particularly well, only sporting a 22% on Rotten Tomatoes currently. I tend to not really trust sites like that, but I think that you have to at least take it into account. Despite the poor reception, Blumhouse has said they are going to continue forward with their plans for the next two films, with some possible reworking of the story, and there's even a possibility that a new director will be brought in to helm the projects. Like I said, the film was directed by David Gordon Green. It stars Leslie Odom Jr., Lydia Jewett, Olivia O'Neill, Jennifer Nettles, and Ellen Burstyn, who is this movie's main connection to the original. Here's a fun fact, though. My coach at the Nightmare Factory, Cody Rhodes, he worked with Jennifer Nettles on the Go Big show where they were both judges. I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. But what did I think of this film? I thought it was okay. I don't think it was anything special, but it was enjoyable enough to me. It was extremely generic, and if you remove a couple characters, then it's a standalone film that could have been called anything. I think it'll be interesting to see what they do to make it fit into this franchise more going forward. And with that, let's crawl down to the ring and dive into the plot. The film opens up with Victor Fielding and his pregnant wife Soren on vacation in Haiti, where she receives a blessing for her unborn child. They are enjoying their trip until a massive earthquake hits, causing their hotel to collapse, gravely injuring Soren. The doctors tell Victor he has to choose between his wife and his child. We jump ahead 13 years where Victor is raising their daughter, Angela, in Georgia. One day after school, Angela and her friend Catherine venture out into the woods to perform a seance to contact Angela's mother. Of course, this doesn't really go to plan, and later that night, Victor realizes his daughter is missing and calls Catherine's parents, beginning a 3-day search for the girls. The girls are eventually located in a barn about 30 miles away and are definitely traumatized, but otherwise okay. They are taken home with the only injuries suffered being burns to their feet. The next day, Angela turns heel and attacks her dad, while Catherine has an outburst at church. Angela! Victor admits Angela into the hospital where their nurse neighbor, Anne, cares for her. Catherine's mother, Miranda, played by Jennifer Nettles of Sugarland, theorizes that the girls went to hell and brought a demon back with them. The girls' condition worsens as the burns become more severe. Anne, now convinced Angela is possessed, gives Victor a book written by Chris MacNeil, who experienced a similar situation in 1973 with her daughter Reagan. Chris has spent all of her time since then studying exorcisms in every culture and becoming world-renowned for her studies. Reagan, however, resents her mother for this and hasn't spoken to her in years.
I want to help my daughter like you helped yours. Like you helped Reagan.
Victor finds Chris and takes her to see Angela at the hospital before they go to Catherine's house. They find the house destroyed and Catherine's parents completely distraught. Chris goes upstairs and begins performing a deliverance ritual on Catherine. But Catherine has also completed her heel turn and stabs Chris multiple times in the eyes, blinding her. This scene was absolutely brutal. Victor, Anne, Miranda, and Tony reach out to the church for an exorcism. Chris advises them to use methods from different cultures. and the group recruits several people into their faction. But the local Catholic diocese forbids Father Maddox from participating, believing that the girls were suffering from a psychiatric issue. The girls are then tied to the chairs back to back as the group proceeds with the exorcism. Anne is leading the group. The demon eventually reveals that Victor did not choose to save Angela all those years ago, choosing his wife instead. But she died from her injuries and Angela was saved. Anne reads from Ezekiel 16 while holy water is poured onto the children, causing them to shriek. The demon tells them they must choose which of the girls will live and which one will die.
One girl lives, one girl dies.
You get to choose.
If they do not choose, then both girls will die. Victor and Miranda both refuse to make a choice, and then Maddox, who had a sudden change of heart, joins the group and reads from the Roman ritual, only for the demon to snap his neck and kill him, rendering him completely useless in this situation. Victor suddenly regains his faith and begins reciting the Lord's Prayer. He then apologizes to Angela and uses Seren's scarf to try to strengthen her against the demon. Tony, who's hiding behind a wall, screams that he chooses Catherine, and Angela flatlines because they're connected to these heart monitors. Catherine's parents are stuck like glue to her as Victor cries for his daughter. Suddenly, Catherine dies, and Angela comes back to life, free of the demon. This is because of the blessing that her mother received in Haiti before she was born. The police arrive as Victor holds his daughter, and Miranda and Tony try to resuscitate Catherine to no avail. In the aftermath, Victor visits Seren's grave, and Angela returns to school. Things have returned to normal, or at least as normal as they possibly could be in this situation. The film closes with Chris still in the hospital, bandages over her eyes. Someone comes in and grabs her hand. It's Reagan, played by the returning Linda Blair. She tells her mother that she forgives her, and the two share a genuinely nice moment. Like I said earlier, if you remove those two characters, this could literally be any other movie of this subgenre. I don't think it's quite as bad as a lot of possession movies, but it is absolutely generic. It hits the same beats as all of them. And Cody Leach said it the best when he said that a lot of these types of movies, you don't even need to see to give a full rundown of the plot. You can basically see the trailer and run through every single thing that's going to happen. There's just not a lot that's unique here. But I'm remaining optimistic that they will course correct a bit, and in the next film will be better, and it will fit better within the franchise. And we're going to take a look at the positives and the negatives of this film, but first we do have to take a quick break. Stick around and we'll be right back with more of this spooky spectacle. If you're looking to save 20% off of your total order from Redcon1.com, I have a really good deal for you. If you'll go to their website, put some things in your shopping cart, go to checkout, and then all you have to do is type in the code Andrew Dreamer and you will save 20% off of your entire order. It's a really good discount. They have really good products. I use them in my everyday life and in my gym life. They have everything that you could possibly want to achieve that highest state of readiness. So go to Redcon1.com and use code Andrew Dreamer at checkout to save 20%. We are back now, and I don't want to waste any of your time, so let's make our way back down to the ring. Positives for The Exorcist Believer. Well, I actually really like the way that David Gordon Green shoots a movie. When I was watching this movie, I couldn't help but notice that it was shot in a very similar way to his Halloween trilogy. Which makes sense because the cinematographer of this film was Michael Simmons, who also worked on that Halloween trilogy with David Gordon Green. But, I mean, everything from the lighting to the color timing reminded me of Halloween, so I actually really enjoyed that. I also thought that Leslie Odom Jr. did a really good job in this film. He was my favorite character by far, and I hope that he does come back for the sequels. I also think that it was really cool that Jennifer Nettles was in this movie. I mean, I'm a country music fan, so I enjoyed that. And the last character that I will mention is Chris MacNeil. I thought they actually utilized her decently well. I would have liked a little more, but I was pleased with what she actually did in the film for the most part. We'll talk about that a little more later. And I know a lot of horror movies have the characters making dumb decisions and just being stupid. And while those weren't completely absent here, I thought for the most part that they all acted accordingly. So let me know down in the comments what you like about this movie. On to the negatives now. I've already mentioned this, so I'm sure you can guess it, but this is a generic movie. There's nothing super special here. Maybe a little bit better execution than some others, sure, but still generic nonetheless. I didn't really see the point in bringing back the legacy characters because essentially they don't do anything. I mean, Chris is there to give a little advice and to pop the old school crowd, but other than that, she's just there to create a brutal moment. Now, moments are huge, yes, but that could have been anybody. I do believe that they will have more to do in the next film, so I'm holding out hope for that. There was also a bit of a lull going into the third act. The pacing just kind of hit a hiccup for me for a few minutes, in my opinion. I think they got it back on track in a decent way, but it stuck out to me nonetheless. I did not like Tony at all. From the first moment I saw him, I knew he was going to be a catalyst for some big stupid decision later in the film. And he was. They telegraphed that one for sure. But as we begin to wrap up here, let me know what you did not like about this movie. If you hated this movie, let me know why, because I'm genuinely curious. I want to hear from you all. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I told you I had something special. So what I want you to do is post a comment down below and let me know what movie or franchise you want to see me cover. The first person to do this will get their choice covered on this channel. I'm really excited to see what you all can come up with. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already. Leave a like and a comment down below. Head over to Patreon and consider becoming a member of the WWH Universe. On our next show, we will be looking at Hell House LLC Origins, the Carmichael Manor. Long name, but good movie. Keep an eye out for that. But until then, my name is Andrew Dreamer, and this is Wrestling with Horror.